Good morning. Here we are back at what Aislinn thinks of this industrial complex world we've created. This time, I'm going after public education. Well, I've been going after public education for a very long time. And part of that is because my parents started telling me very young that there's something wrong with this system and it's not going to keep screwing us up. But that didn't change the fact that we went through the entire public education, my brother and I both did. And in fact, my children are in the public education system and we're in the public education system. We'll come back to that on another day. But yesterday, The Guardian had an article with a headline that said something about why do we expect 5 year olds to sit at desks? And so here's my response. Because apparently, the best way to raise a divine, curious, bright eyed 5 year old is to make them sit down, shut up, and color inside the lines for, let's be honest, 15 to 19 years. 19 years of sitting still, following directions, and learning to earn gold stars, grades, diplomas, degrees, and just enough debt to keep them obedient for life. We call it education. I call it the world's longest onboarding process. If you want to be a good citizen, you better be ready to sit for a while. Elementary, middle, high, college, maybe even grad school if you're really well behaved, because nothing says freedom like 4 more years of student loans and a minor existential crisis before the age of 30. We're told this is how you get ahead. Ahead of what? The bills? The burnout? The other exhausted adults convincing themselves that the cubicle they worked so hard to earn isn't just a slightly upgraded version of the classroom they grew up in? The truth is, we're not building healthy humans living a full conscious experience in the United States public education system. We're building slaves to an industrial machine that stopped producing sustainable return on investment about 75 years ago. Or longer if you dare to look all the way back to Son of Adam. The same machine is still running PR campaigns about innovation. It just rebranded the assembly line as the career readiness. You've got to hand it to them. Persistent, delusional, but persistent. Meanwhile, the kids are still being told to focus. Focus on the board. Focus on the test. Focus on the future. But don't focus on the body that's fidgeting and the mind that's wandering and the question that doesn't fit neatly in a multiple choice box that might come from the spirit idea of, I don't know, contemplation. They're not distracted. They're alive. We punish movement. We mediate curiosity. We call it attention deficit. What it really is that they're deficient from the system of doing it as they've been told. And let's not forget the parents, the mom and dad who were told the same story, the same damn lie, that success means productivity and productivity means clocking back in 6 weeks after creating life. 6 weeks. You barely remember your name at 6 weeks. You're still leaking from every orifice, and yet there you are, dropping your baby off at the child care center so you can go contribute to society and consume fancy designer things and big giant mortgages on houses. And we call that normal. We call that responsible. We even call that empowerment. But what it really is, it's inherited obedience, the generational trauma of the time clock. So the baby goes to school, and by the time they're 3, they're already being tested. Because apparently, if you're not bilingual, STEM ready, and capable of sitting through circle time without tears by age 3, you're behind. Behind what? Behind who? The other toddlers with flashcards and anxiety? We don't even let kids play anymore. We structure their playtime. We turn imagination into curriculum. We tell them how to build with blocks and then grade them on their creativity. And heaven forbid they actually experience life. We rush to sanitize childhood like it's contagious because when you put them all in those boxes, a prison box, it actually is contagious. But let's get back to it. Don't eat dirt. Don't fall down. Don't touch that bug. Don't cry. Don't scream. And for God's sake, don't put that hot pepper in your eye. Even though, honestly, that was one of Lillian's best life lessons in cause and effect. We call it childcare. but it's really early workforce development for both the child and the parent. We're grooming generations to adapt to separation, to believe that presence is impractical, that bonding is a luxury, that love must be scheduled around work. By the time that little one is finally ready for kindergarten, they've already learned the real lesson. Sit still, don't feel too much, and whatever you do, don't question why everyone is so angry and tired. Homework, that's just a way of saying get used to taking your work home with you. And college, that's the advanced version where they tell you to follow your dreams and then hand you this big awesome bill for believing in them. All of this so you can contribute to society. Consume, 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 buy more things. You know, the same society that's poisoning us with food it calls convenience, that's killing our soil in the name of profit and trading nourishment for shelf life. The same system that feeds us sickness to sell us medicine, that teaches us to trust labels instead of instincts and calls it progress, while our guts, our minds, and our spirits starve. It's a world that's lost its taste for real food and real connection, a world so disconnected from the soil that it now sells mental wellness by subscription and spirituality by algorithm. Son of Adam is so proud. Control the land, name the animals, label the children, and make sure they all stand for the pledge. But I've seen something different. What happens when you let a child grow like gardens instead of spreadsheets? When learning happens under the sun instead of fluorescent lights? When they measure growth by seasons, not semesters? Those kids don't ask for permission to live. They just do. They learn math from the spiral of a sunflower, patience from a chicken, and joy from the moment the first sprout breaks through. They don't sit at desks, they sit in truth. And the machine hates that because you can't standardize wonder, you can't quantify joy, and you sure as hell can't test consciousness. But here's the thing, you can unlearn it. You can stand up from the desk, you can remember that the bell was never your master. We start by letting the kids be kids again, the sticky-fingered philosophers, the barefoot scientists, the mud-smeared poets with questions too big for scantrons. We let them climb trees and build forts, learn physics from falling and laughter from failure. We let them cook, plant, break things, and rebuild them. We let them live education instead of surviving it. And the parents, we heal that part too. The one that still feels guilty for resting, that measures worth by productivity, that learned to call exhaustion purpose. We teach them how to breathe again, how to look their child in the eye without checking the clock, how to see that presence is the most radical form of a rebellion that is left. The reminder of why I will always be the girl who found her luxuries at home with family, not in designer shoes or purses, because I can feed my family, I can heal my family, and that's the wealth the world can't sell me. Because the truth is, the system can't raise our children better than we can love them, and it certainly can't love them better than the land. The garden doesn't rush. It doesn't grade the seed for how fast it blooms. It just holds space for what's becoming. That's education. That's life. So maybe the revolution isn't in the streets. It's in our backyards. Maybe it's the moment a child pulls up a carrot and realizes they just learned biology, patience, and joy all before breakfast. Maybe that's what real learning feels like, alive, messy, full of mistakes. So the kind of thing that leaves dirt under our fingernails and a little fire in our soul. So no, I don't expect 5-year-olds to sit at desks. I expect them to build kingdoms out of sticks, to name the stars, to eat the dirt, and to learn what life tastes like. Because when we stop raising test scores and start raising conscious humans, we won't need to reform education. We'll remember what it always was supposed to be. And reach out to me if you want me to help you out. I've got places here where we can teach our children together. Love you.